There is a version of you that has been meaning to start investing for a while now, maybe a few months, maybe longer. You have done the research. You know what an index fund is. You have heard of the S&P 500. You have watched the videos. You have saved the posts. And yet, the money is still just sitting there in a checking account, earning nothing, while inflation quietly eats it alive. That version of you is not lazy. That version of you is not bad with money. That version of you is missing something specific. And by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what it is. But first, I need to tell you something that most finance content will never say out loud. Starting to invest at the wrong time can actually make your financial situation worse. Not better, worse. And the finance industry has a financial incentive to never tell you that, because they make money when you invest. They do not make money when you prepare. So today, we are not talking about what to invest in. We are talking about what to do before you invest a single dollar. And if you do these things in order, when you do finally start investing, you will never be the person who panics and sells at the bottom. You will never be the person who has to pull money out of the market at the worst possible time. You will be the investor who actually wins. Let's get into it. Picture someone we will call Marcus. 28 years old, makes decent money, decides he is finally going to start investing. Opens a brokerage account on a Tuesday, puts in $2,000, feels great about himself, tells his friends. 6 weeks later, his transmission goes out. Repair bill is $1,800. He does not have it in savings, so he looks at his investment account. The market is down 8% since he bought in. His $2,000 is now $1,840. He pulls it out anyway because he has no other choice. Pays the repair bill, has $40 left. He did not lose because the market beat him. He lost because he was not ready to invest. And that one moment, that one missing piece, set him back further than if he had never invested at all. Because now he has no savings, no investment, and a story that makes him distrust the market forever. Marcus is not a cautionary tale about investing. Marcus is a cautionary tale about sequence, and sequence is everything. The very first thing you need before you invest $1 is an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of your actual living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account. Untouched, boring, doing almost nothing except protecting every other financial decision you make. I know you have heard this before. I know it sounds slow. But here is the thing nobody explains properly. The emergency fund is not separate from your investment strategy. It is the foundation that makes your investment strategy possible. Without it, you are one bad month away from being forced to sell at the worst time. And forced selling at the wrong time is how ordinary people lose money in a market that, over time, almost always goes up. Calculate your real number right now. Add up your rent or mortgage, food, utilities, car payment, insurance, phone. Everything it costs to keep your life running for 1 month. Multiply by 3. That is your minimum target. Multiply by 6 if your income is irregular or your job feels unstable. For most people, that number lands somewhere between $4,000 and $12,000. And yes, that feels like a lot. But you are not saving it all tomorrow. You are building it systematically. $100 a month gets you to $1,200 in a year. $250 a month gets you there in under 2 years. And the entire time it is sitting in a high-yield savings account earning 4 to 5%. It is not doing nothing. It is doing the most important job in your financial life. Once that fund exists, you have something Marcus did not have: options. And options are worth more than almost any investment return. Now, here is where it gets uncomfortable, because step 2 requires honesty. and most people skip it because they do not want to face what they are about to find. Do you have high-interest debt? Credit cards, personal loans, buy now, pay later balances, anything above 8% interest? If the answer is yes, that debt is already an investment decision you are making, a catastrophically bad one, and you are making it whether you realize it or not. Here is the math that changes everything. The stock market has returned roughly 8 to 10% annually on average over long periods. That is the number people celebrate. That is why everyone says, invest now. But credit card interest rates average between 20 and 29%. If you are invested in the market earning 10% while carrying a credit card balance at 24%, you are losing 14% on that money every single year. Guaranteed, with zero risk of it going the other way. Paying off a 24% credit card is a guaranteed 24% return. There is nothing in the legal investing world that can touch that. Nothing. So before you buy a single share of anything, eliminate every debt above 8% interest. Use the avalanche method. List your debts from highest interest rate to lowest. Every extra dollar goes to the top one while you pay minimums on everything else. When that one is dead, attack the next. Repeat until they are all gone. And here is what nobody talks about when you do this. Every debt you eliminate is monthly cash flow you get back permanently. A minimum payment of $200 that disappears forever is $200 a month you now invest for the next 30 years. The debt payoff is not the delay. The debt payoff is the investment. Step 3 is where most people discover something that genuinely surprises them, and it starts with a simple question. Where is your money actually going every month? Not where you think it is going, where it is actually going. Most people have a rough number in their head. They think they have $300 or $400 left over at the end of the month. But when they actually look, really look, the number is closer to 60, sometimes negative. And the gap between what they expected and what they find is not because they are irresponsible. It is because modern spending is designed to be invisible. Subscriptions renew automatically. Convenience purchases happen in seconds. Eating out does not feel like a decision every single time it happens. And slowly, quietly, the money that was supposed to build your future is evaporating into things you barely remember buying. Here is the assignment. Before you invest $1, track every single expense for 30 days. Every coffee, every gas fill, every grocery run, every subscription, everything. Use your banking app, use a spreadsheet, use a notes app on your phone. The tool does not matter. The honesty does. What you will find is that you have more investing money than you thought. It is just currently assigned to things that are not building your future. Most people who do this exercise reclaim $200 to $500 a month without changing their income at all. That money was always there. It was just invisible. Now you know where your money goes. You have your emergency fund. Your high-interest debt is handled. You have found your hidden investing dollars. Now we talk about the single most important account decision you will ever make. If your employer offers a 401k match and you are not contributing enough to capture the full match, you are leaving free money on the table, right now, every single paycheck. A 401k employer match is a 100% instant return on your money before it ever touches the market. If your employer matches 50% of your contributions up to 6% of your salary, and you are only putting in 3%, you are voluntarily giving up compensation you already earned. That is not a missed opportunity. That is a choice to work for less than you are being paid. Before you open a brokerage account, before you buy an ETF, before you do anything else, contribute at least enough to your 401k to get the full employer match. This is the one piece of investing advice that virtually every financial expert on earth agrees on, regardless of their philosophy or strategy. It is free money. There is no argument against taking it. Now, let's talk about something that almost nobody addresses before they start investing, and it is the thing that determines whether you actually stick with it when things get hard. Why are you investing? Not the surface answer, not the answer you would give someone at a dinner party. The real answer, the one that would actually keep you invested when your portfolio drops 20% and every headline is screaming that the economy is collapsing. Because that moment will come. Not might come, will come. The market has dropped 20% or more multiple times in the last 30 years, and every single time, the investors who sold locked in permanent losses, while the investors who stayed recovered, and then some. The difference between those two groups was not intelligence, it was not strategy. It was whether they had a reason to stay that was stronger than the fear telling them to leave. So write your why down. Make it specific. Make it real. Not just retirement. At what age? With how much? Not just financial freedom. What does that actually look like for your life? The more specific your why, the more it functions as an anchor when the market tries to throw you overboard. And here is the truth that most financial content will never say. Your why does not have to be the biggest number possible. It has to be the number that means something to you. Retiring at 55 on $70,000 a year is a completely valid and beautiful goal. You do not need to chase someone else's number. You need to know what your version of enough looks like. Before you pick a single investment, you need to understand your real relationship with risk, not your theoretical relationship, your real one. Here is how to find out. Imagine you invest $10,000 today. In 3 months, you open your account and it says $7,000. What do? If your honest answer is anything other than nothing, your portfolio is not built for your real risk tolerance. It is built for the version of yourself that exists when everything is going up. In a bull market, everyone believes they are aggressive investors. Prices go up, confidence go up. Everyone wants more exposure. Then the market corrects 30%, which it has done multiple times in history, and people discover their real tolerance is much more conservative than they thought. The ones who had not accounted for that sell at the bottom and lock in the loss. Your risk tolerance is determined by 3 things: your time horizon, how long until you need the money, your income stability, how secure is the job or business that funds your contributions, and your emotional baseline. How do you actually respond to financial stress historically? A 25-year-old with a stable income and a 40-year runway can absorb significant volatility. A 45-year-old with variable income and a 15-year horizon needs a more conservative approach. Neither is wrong. What is wrong is being in the wrong allocation for your actual situation. Now we get into the account question, and this is where one decision made correctly or incorrectly is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Most people ask, what should I invest in, before they ask, where should I hold it? That is the wrong order. The where determines how much of your returns you actually keep after taxes, and the difference between the right account and the wrong account is not small. There are 3 main account types that matter for most people. A taxable brokerage account, where you invest with after-tax dollars and pay taxes on gains and dividends as you go. A traditional 401k or IRA, where you invest pre-tax dollars, reduce your taxable income now, and pay taxes when you withdraw in retirement. And a Roth IRA, where you invest after-tax dollars now, pay nothing on the growth, and pay nothing when you withdraw in retirement. The Roth IRA is one of the most powerful wealth-building tools ever created for regular people. Here is why. The numbers are staggering. You invest $6,000 a year starting at age 25. You do that for 35 years. At an 8% average annual return, that grows to approximately $1.2 million. In a taxable account, you owe capital gains tax on the growth. In a Roth IRA, you owe exactly zero. Nothing. The entire $1.2 million is yours. That tax-free status over a lifetime is worth more than most people will ever earn in a single year, and it is available to almost everyone who is working and earning income. The priority order works like this. 1. Contribute to your 401k up to the full employer match. 2. Max out your Roth IRA. 3. Go back and max out your 401k. 4. Anything remaining goes into a taxable brokerage account. Most people never get to 4. If you can execute steps 1 and 2 consistently, you are already doing more than the vast majority of Americans who invest at all. Here is the part of this video where I tell you something that is going to sound almost offensively simple, and I need you to sit with it before you react. The best investing strategy for most people is boring. It is not complex. It does not require research. It does not require watching the market. It does not require picking stocks or timing anything. It requires buying low-cost, broadly diversified index funds on a consistent schedule and then leaving them alone. That is it. That is the strategy that the data supports. That is the strategy that Warren Buffett himself has recommended for regular investors publicly and repeatedly. That is the strategy that beats the majority of actively managed funds over any 10-year period. Not because it is clever, because it removes human emotion and human error from the equation. The single biggest threat to your investment returns is not market volatility. It is your own behavior. Buying high because something is exciting, selling low because something is scary, chasing last year's winning sector, switching strategies every time you read a new article. The investor who bought a simple S&P 500 index fund in 2000 and never touched it would have dramatically outperformed the majority of active investors over that same period, despite living through 3 major crashes. You do not need a complex strategy. You need a simple strategy and the discipline to stick to it. And discipline becomes dramatically easier when everything is automated. Set up automatic contributions. Do it this week. Link your investment account to your checking account and schedule a fixed transfer on the same day every month right after payday. Make it automatic so it never requires a decision. Because every time you have to actively choose to invest, you introduce the opportunity to talk yourself out of it. This is what behavioral economists call paying yourself first. Most people spend what they earn and invest what is left. What is left is almost always nothing. Flip it. Automate the investment first. Spend whatever remains. What you will find is that you naturally adjust your spending to match what is available. You were never really spending based on what you needed. You were spending based on what you could see. Now I want to talk about something that sounds psychological, but is actually entirely practical. Your financial immune system. The market will test you. This is not a maybe, this is a certainty. At some point during your investing life, your portfolio will drop significantly. Could be 10%, could be 30%, could be 50% during a severe recession. And when that happens, every instinct you have will tell you to do something, to act, to protect yourself, to stop the bleeding. That instinct is wrong. and the investors who follow it consistently destroy their own returns. The investors who build generational wealth through market crashes are not the ones with better information. They are the ones who were structurally prepared for the crash before it happened. They had an emergency fund, so they did not have to sell. They had no high-interest debt draining their cash flow. They had a clear why that reminded them why the money was invested in the first place. They understood their real risk tolerance, so their allocation did not shock them when volatility arrived. And they had automated their contributions so they kept buying during the crash at discounted prices. Look at every major crash in market history. The 2001 dot-com collapse, the 2008 financial crisis where the market dropped 50%, the March 2020 COVID crash that dropped 34% in 5 weeks. Every single one of them looked catastrophic in the moment. Every single one of them recovered. And in every single case, the investors who stayed in or bought more came out the other side significantly wealthier than when the crash began. The investors who sold locked in the loss permanently. They did not get to participate in the recovery, and most of them never fully trusted the market again. You are not going to be that investor because you are going to be prepared before you ever put the first dollar in. Let me bring this all together. The reason most people never build real wealth through investing is not because they picked the wrong stocks. It is not because they started too late. It is not because the market was rigged against them. It is because they skipped the foundation and then could not hold on when things got hard. The emergency fund means you never have to sell at the wrong time. The debt elimination means your returns are not being consumed by interest. The cash flow clarity means you actually have consistent money to invest every month. The employer match means your very first return is 100% before the market does anything. The written why means you have an anchor when fear tries to move you. The real risk tolerance means your allocation matches your actual life. The right account means you keep more of what you make. The automated contributions mean the machine runs whether you feel motivated or not. And all of it together means that when the market crashes, which it will, you are the investor who stays calm, keeps buying, and comes out the other side with more than you went in with. That is not luck. That is preparation. And preparation is the entire game. Most people spend years trying to find the right investment. The people who actually win spend their energy making sure they are the right investor first. You now know what that looks like. The only question is what you do with it. Start with the foundation. Everything else gets easier from there.